This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Mr. Hawaii himself, Colin Cowherd, back from a sojourn over to Hawaii. Let's get started. Whitlock thinks that being called the chosen one and King James makes LeBron still have more to prove. Cowherd says you can't make a meal with cayenne pepper and then be concerned about the heat to make the case that you have to let Draymond be Draymond for the Warriors. Of course, we've got to talk about LaVar Ball pricing the Lonzo Ball sneakers at $495. I can't believe it, but myself, Broussard, and Cowherd all defend LaVar Ball. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard tells us that Shaq underachieved. What? Dak Prescott said the Cowboys just scratched the surface last season, and our FS1 NFL analyst Greg Jennings argues why Dak is going to take a step up this season. I totally agree with him. And finally, Jake Cutler has joined the Fox family. And Super Bowl champ Eric Davis tells a personal story why he thinks Cutler made the right choice. You ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
Welcome to the show. We'll tell you why Dak Prescott is about to take a step back.
And why LeBron James has nothing left to prove. Speak For Yourself starts right now.
Awesome weekend for me, Cowherd. Saw Chappelle.
Awesome for me. I got a tan. I was in Hawaii.
Tried to top my Chappelle, but that didn't do it. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard and NBA champion Caron Butler. Let's start with LeBron James, who willed the Cavs to yet another playoff series sweep, knocking off the Raptors last night with another monster game. LeBron has been playing some of his best basketball ever in these playoffs, though he denies he has anything to prove, saying, quote, "Seriously, what else would I have to do? I've won championships. I won my first one. I won one for my teammates. I came home and won. There isn't anything I have left to prove." Colin, in your mind, does LeBron still have things he could prove?
No, unless you're talking about the singular pursuit of MJ. But if Martin Scorsese today said, it's over. All right, top 3-4 director. Like this idea that you have to be number one. John Elway was great. Great is great. Like if you're in a top, because remember, even in sports where you have records and Super Bowls, there's a lot of people that still prefer Montana because he never lost a Super Bowl. Bill Russell won 11 of 12. That's better than MJ. So to me, if Denzel today says done, Meryl Streep, LeBron's a top 3 player.
Did any of those guys you rattled off, do they have chosen one tatted on their back?
Oh, come on.
Did they adopt the nickname King? Chosen one and King. He set the bar. So don't tell me I got nothing to prove.
He surpassed it.
No.
I mean, Tiger came in and surpassed what we thought Tiger would do.
He has surpassed my... Jordan doesn't have chosen one on his back. Jordan didn't call himself King. He set the bar as Michael Jordan. That's his pursuit.
Did he?
You tattoo chosen one on your back.
He didn't tattoo I'm better than Michael Jordan on his back.
He talks about going after Michael Jordan. What does chosen one mean?
Chosen one doesn't
Is
mean...
there something higher than Jesus?
It means he is an all-time great player. Like, when we look at Shaq, I honestly think as great as Shaq was, he underachieved.
A little bit,
4
yeah.
titles.
Yeah.
I think he could have probably won 6 or 8 or something like that. But I never look at Shaq and think, he's still got something to prove. You know, I never look at Magic or Bird or any Kobe and say they still have something to prove. It's to your point.
Have you seen their back? Do you see chosen one? Like a jersey?
He's the only player in the conversation with Michael Jordan. That's the only one we talk about is maybe he can be or maybe he is.
Did you think he was going to be this?
Jordan.
Honestly, when Tiger Woods...
Why are we worried about what I think? I'm worried about what LeBron thinks.
Him or Kobe.
LeBron.
In the same conversation.
I don't
as
think
Michael
people
Jackson.
put
Michael
Kobe.
Jordan.
I don't think
Kobe's in that class, of
Don't
course.
dirty up the
But no,
conversation,
I don't think
bro.
anybody. I haven't
I'm
heard.
just telling you,
people say-
man.
Don't
Kobe's
dirty
a
up the
great. Hey,
conversation.
man. Kobe Bryant.
Is LeBron better than Kobe? Both in their prime.
Kobe got 5 championships.
Yeah, but
I don't. He never left L.A.
You're
He
changing
didn't-
He's
the
a
conversation.
great.
But you don't- he didn't have no league.
If you're going to have the conversation, you got to talk about all aspects of it.
Does LeBron have anything to prove?
From a personal standpoint, I don't think he do. You know what I mean? He's an all-time great. one of the best all-around, if not the best all-around basketball player ever to play the game of basketball.
Okay, so again, he's an all-time great. So is Denzel. So is Scorsese. So all-time great. You're getting way too caught up in some ink. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes.
He has said he's after Jordan's legacy. He has called himself King James from the beginning.
Well, he's still got a mountain to climb. I'll put it that way. Nothing to prove.
A mountain?
But, well, yeah. I mean, that's the one thing out there that he can do. You know, it's not about, more titles obviously is what he needs to get to Jordan, but that's the one remaining thing he can do. But if he doesn't reach it, there's no shame in being second to Michael Jordan.
In the last 50 years, there's about 6 players in this league that you just think, and most go by one name. You know, Magic, Bird, Kobe, MJ, Jabbar, you know, the logo, and LeBron. I mean, he's in this. I mean, you're talking about.
LeBron's got about 4 names.
What's that?
Chosen One, King James, LBJ.
I mean, he's really great. You call him 4 things, and everybody recognize him by all those names.
I don't think he made up King James, too. Just call it a hunch that somebody put that on him.
Why are we lowering the bar with a bar he said and he's close to getting to?
Okay, time out.
Why are we lowering? He wants to be the greatest of all time.
Think about this.
So there's something left to prove.
The other night, KD had a game. And, on social media, you can't believe how good this game was for KD. Put the stat line up for that singular game. That's what LeBron did in the entire series against the Raptors. Literally, Durant's game of the playoffs doesn't equal LeBron's game series against the Raptors. You're talking about a guy, the standard, as much as I love MJ, and he's great. I say this to people all the time. Now that LeBron can hit threes better than Michael, who was never a great long-distance shooter, what did Michael do better than LeBron? Not ball handle, not pass, not shoot.
But that's Jordan's handle.
It was not LeBron's handle.
It was good. It was good enough. I mean, but I don't think you judge him by a checklist of skills. Because there are, Kobe might win an argument with a checklist of skills. David Robinson might win against Shaq with a checklist of skills. But I think Jordan still is the GOAT. But to your point, Colin, I think LeBron believes he has nothing left to prove. I think after winning that championship last year in Cleveland, or for Cleveland, against the winningest team ever, coming back from 3-1, I think he now looks like he's playing, even in his post-game press conferences, he looks more relaxed, more comfortable than ever. Like he really doesn't have a monkey on his back for the first time in his career.
Welcome back. Chris Broussard is back with us. We're joined now by the founder of The Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to LeVar Ball, who took a lot of heat last week after unveiling his son Lonzo's signature shoe with a price tag of nearly $500. LeVar defended the decision Friday, saying, quote, "That's what the shoe is worth." And on The Undisputed this morning, he claimed he had sold at least 495 pairs before saying the shoe is about more than just sales.
That shoe is symbolic already on the fact that he's coming in with his own brand. Nobody's ever done that. So if I sell 50 shoes, who cares? It's a family thing. It's for the family. I'll make them all for Lonzo. Lonzo has his own shoe. Just like Shaq was saying, oh, LeVar, you need to make it for the kids. No, that's your lane. You make it for them. They got 2 lanes they can come in. He makes his shoe, his Shaq attack. How come his son don't wear it? It's a family thing. See, my son will wear my shoe.
All right, Colin, is it a mistake for LeVar Ball to sell the shoe for so much?
Let me defend LeVar Ball.
Please do.
Again on this show. Years ago, I know this, I have an intimate relationship with this industry. Grey Goose came out with vodka. And vodka's mostly tasteless. You just distill the taste right out of it. And they doubled the price. There's no real reason. It wasn't worth the price. You used to be able to buy a pint of vodka for $19, and Grey Goose said, $38. And it caught fire. And Starbucks, part of their appeal is, this is where smart people, they pull in their BMW. I think Pete's coffee's better than Starbucks. I think Starbucks is about the 4th best coffee in the market. But when you go to Starbucks, feel smarter. Take a book. You read at Starbucks. Academic at Starbucks. Some of this stuff is positioning himself way on top of the mountain. And I like what he says there. You want to sell a $60 shoe, knock yourself out. It's not going to be my shoe. I'm telling you, He may swing and miss, but I know where he's going.
Grey Goose and Starbucks have LaVar as their front man. The most polarizing helicopter parent we've seen.
What's wrong with polarizing in our business?
That's actually good.
What's wrong with polarizing? I like polarizing. I work
people
with you.
like Starbucks.
You're polarizing.
I ain't selling $500 shoes.
You're selling
I'm not
that
selling $40 bottles of Grey Goose. I'm not selling coffee. Again, LaVar Ball, great talk show host.
Can you acknowledge, though?
Not a business.
Can you acknowledge? Nobody else's shoes getting talked about. I don't even know what Ben Simmons wears.
The word you're looking for is exclusive. You guys remember when Facebook came out a decade ago? You had to have a .edu to get into Facebook. Otherwise, you're on the outside. It was cool.
Were you upset by that?
I was a little bit upset. When I
don't even know what you're talking about.
When I first moved to New York City, you know, you get there, you want to go to the clubs, see the models and the celebrities. Those are exclusive joints. They got a red velvet rope outside. They're exclusive.
I didn't see any supermodels with these shoes.
These shoes are exclusive. You're not going to get them unless you're ponying up $500.
I'm with you guys on this. I'm with Colin. Like, he said it. He made a great call. He said, nobody questions Prada. Why is that so expensive? Why is Gucci so expensive?
Yeah.
As long as the quality of the shoe is legitimate. And I don't know what Python microfiber and gel soles and all that means. But as long as it's legitimate product, then I'm fine with him pricing it the way he has.
It's very interesting. Why is Prada $500? I mean, the women's shoe industry,
Louboutin.
purses. Okay, that's fine.
There you go.
But I mean, what makes a Kardashian Is it because they can act? Why are Kardashian purses?
Let me tell you about. We'll stick with Louboutin shoes.
Okay.
Guys like me, idiots, buy them for women. We're not buying these $500 tennis shoes for any women.
But there's a lot of idiotic people who buy $190 shoes for their kids because Derrick Rose wore them. The whole consumption of shoes is sort of, at times, idiotic.
Well, and I love that Elijah Wan had a shoe for $35, Shaq for $60, Marbury for $15. But those shoes did not take off. With the kids, they wanted to buy them to save them from spending so much money. Those kids want the Jordans for $200 or the LeBrons for $180 or whatever it may be. This is a smart move. And I think you would like this, on an African-American level, isn't this what a lot of people in our community have said they wished a Michael Jordan would have done? Craig Hodges was
came out with some overpriced $500 shoes.
Came up with his own shoe, his own brand, and I don't know if they're going to follow through, but Lonzo Ball's commercial, his video commercial, he said, we're going to hire people. We want to put people to work. We want to have our own brand. Like, if they follow through with that, I love it. I've been dying for a black player to say, I'm not going to just make money for Nike or Adidas or Converse or whoever.
Make it for
We're
yourself.
We're going to have our own. So if this works, it could be great.
I would be for what you're talking about if they had a strategic plan. LaVar Ball as the front man does not instill confidence in me.
You didn't like how he got dressed up now? He's ditched the sweats and now he's in a suit.
That is the one thing I like. I like it. I like it.
He has a plan. I can't believe I'm defending.
But hold on, Jason. This does look like they have a plan. I mean, Nike, Adidas, they offered what, $10 million over 5 years.
Right.
A week later, they got you their shoe. This is what it's going to look like. We're coming out. It seems like they have a plan.
Come November.
He's riding your $500 for 7 months. You're not getting the shoe till November.
It's like those seat licenses, personal seat licenses at a stadium or whatever. I don't believe in the strategy. Pay now, $500 shoes later. Look, I used to buy clothes on layaway and furniture on layaway. We did that growing up. We was poor. I ain't buying $500 tennis.
You either get Python microfiber or you don't. You don't get it. Some of us do. All right, welcome back. It's a football segment here. Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings and Super Bowl champ Eric Davis. Let's move to America's team. They are, ratings prove it, Dak Prescott. Got a lot to live up to after an impressive rookie year, but Dak isn't shying away from the high expectations, saying, quote, in year one, we just scratched the surface. Whitlock, you think Dak will take a step forward or back this year?
I think history says he's going to take a step back. I went and looked up the last 6 quarterbacks to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Dak Prescott, RG3, Cam Newton, Sam Bradford, Matt Ryan, Vince Young. I'd want to be Matt Ryan on that list. The rest, and Cam Newton's got an MVP, and that's fine, but Listen, man, sophomore season, the sophomore jinx, the league has film on you. I wouldn't be putting this kind of pressure on myself if I'm Dak Prescott.
I think Dak's better. I think the Cowboys are worse because I think Dak's going to learn, but that's a first-place schedule. Dallas did not suffer a lot of injuries last year. I mean, you know, it was one of those years where everything sort of worked out for them. They were not a target. I mean, some of that in the first 2 months was, oh, wow, we just lost to Dallas. They're way better than we thought. But I will say this, they're a playoff team. It is hard in this day and age to have an offensive line that good, that dominant. You look at the 4 best O-lines in football last year, they're playoff teams. So Green Bay had one of them. Mm-hmm. Dallas had one of them. Oakland had one of them. Tennessee was the one team, and they were, to the very end, tied with a playoff team in their division. So I think Dallas is a 9-10 win team, but I think Dak, I think you're going to say after this year, yeah, this is a 10-year guy. This is a 10-year. I never felt that with RG3. Even when he won Rookie of the Year, he was built like a violin. You had to tune that baby up. He was thin. Yeah. He was spindly. Like Dak's big, thick. I was like, rose to the occasion every game last year. I think he'll grow on you.
And what Dak has that these other guys that you mentioned didn't have is the success around him. Because you talk about the offensive line, more so than any other position, early success for a quarterback is dependent on the team around him. Yeah. He has an offensive line. He has a running game. And Dak has some things that he left on film last year that he missed that he's going to see, and he's going to get better. Yes, defenses are going to see what he and that offense can and can't do, and they're going to play that. But his game's going to get better. So I think that Dak is going to continue to grow. My issue, I've said it before, is with the coach. I don't think he's a big game coach. I think Dak is a big game player. And I'm with you on that one, Colin. I think the team is going to come back. I think the rest of the division is going to catch up to them. But I think Dak is going to grow as a player.
I'm with both of you. I personally think that Dak Prescott is going to take the next step forward. And here's why. To your point, number one, they never expected him to play. They never expected him to even take snaps with the ones. And then even up until week 8, they were still looking at, well, can he still keep us afloat until Tony comes back? Well, Tony has an opportunity to come back, and they're looking like, well, he's outperforming even our expectations, so we have to ride with him. And even with that success, they never really, you don't open the full playbook to a rookie quarterback at that. You just don't do it. You can't do it. The reason why I say he's going to have so much success is those pieces around him, specifically that guy in the backfield, Ezekiel Elliott, and those guys protecting him up front. With just that, he's going to be more successful because he's already proven that he has the ability to make plays. He's going to now take it another level from a mental standpoint in seeing those errors that he made, those missed opportunities that he didn't have.
Greg, but what also, beyond just opening up the playbook, the other thing that you didn't do because you were worried about Tony Romo coming back is that you didn't cater your offense to Dak Prescott. So much like Russell Wilson, you saw the growth in him. I think you can see that type growth because you start to utilize his skill set more so, and I think you make things easier for him to be successful.
You know, one of the things, we always talk about quarterbacks have to be smart, and there's a certain base level. But there is an emotional stability to Dak. I thought his most impressive game was his worst game. It was the Philadelphia game. He really, he chopped it up a little bit in that first half and had a really good second half. And if not for Aaron Rodgers' greatest throw, he wins a playoff game. You know what Dak kept doing in the biggest moments? He didn't have great numbers, but, man, he was never afraid of the moment. Right. Like, people knock on Andrew Luck, and they say too many picks. And I'm like, dude, he's a home run hitter. He doesn't hear the critics. He doesn't hear the white noise. Like, all of Dak's skill sets. My thing with Dak is arms okay, runs okay, a little Tebow. We think he's a greater athlete, Tebow, Dak, than. But Dak's like ability to be chill in the big moments kind of blew me away, and I don't think you lose that. I think that just gains steam.
I hope everybody's right. I do think Tony Romo, looking over his shoulder, put some pressure on him, and he performed under that pressure. It'll be interesting to see how he performs without that pressure.
To Salt Lake City, where the Warriors look to sweep the Jazz tonight and will. Golden State won Game 3 by 11. At times haven't even shot the ball well. Little scare, though, after Draymond Green taunted the crowd and got teed up for arguing with the refs, which sparked the 22-9 run by Utah. All right, Whitlock, we've seen Draymond's temper cost the Warriors in the past. Are you concerned he could derail them?
You always got to be concerned about that because he did it last year. They had the Cleveland Cavaliers by the you-know-what, and Draymond let him off the hook. LeBron James, and I thought one of his greatest chess moves, climbed inside of Draymond's head, provoked this guy into doing something foolish that ended up costing him the championship. Draymond's done a great job so far in these playoffs. Lost it a little bit last night. Draymond's going to Draymond.
I disagree. You can't say, you know, I have cayenne pepper in this dish, but I'm concerned about the heat it provides. Well, that is cayenne pepper. What Draymond provides, the team needs, and you can't be fearful of it. They're winning by 15 a game. Some people, they're so much better, like Alabama in college football most years. They're so much better, a bad tight end play is not going to drop Alabama to the fourth best team in the country. When you're winning by 15 in the West, they went on a 14-game winning streak without Kevin Durant. I think they've distanced themselves from even the Cavs. I think they're going to fly through Houston or San Antonio in 4 to 5 games. I don't think
you got them beating the Cavaliers.
Absolutely. Cleveland is not good enough defensively to beat that team.
I'm still with Golden State. I've been with them the whole year as far as winning it. But I'm starting to give Cleveland a better chance than I have for most of this year because LeBron is looking so good, like he's on such a mission that I really have to give them a shot. But to your point, Draymond, they need his edge. And the fact that I would be more worried if he hadn't gotten suspended last year because he really still knows what he cost them most likely last year. And that still sits with him. So I don't think he'll do anything like that this year.
I would still say that, you know, Draymond understands that, just to piggyback on what you said, and also, you know, having guys like Matt Barnes at the end of that bench, having guys like David West, the sense of urgency for them now, you know, they're policing that situation.
Matt Barnes on the end of the bench helps?
Yeah, they're policing that not for that reason, but I'm saying to win the title. You know, it's like, bro, this is my last crack at it. You know what I mean? Like, compose yourself for me. Like, if I'm that dude at the end and it's a chance for me to get some jewelry on me, bro, don't do this to me. This is a great opportunity for me. Buy into what we need to do. Contain yourself, and let's get this thing
I also think the team like Rodman and the Bulls, by the end of it, they just sort of understood Rodman. They understood he was just part of the jambalaya, right? And he would drink all night, get on the treadmill early, and wasn't all there. I mean, there's a picture during the last outbursts by Draymond Green, and the crowd shot shows Bob Myers, the general manager, and he's the guy smiling and laughing with Draymond. And clearly, this is an organization that's come to terms with his silliness. And I think the team understands he's a little salsa. He gives them a little energy boost, which I think...
Clearly, that's a general manager realizes they're playing the Utah Jazz. He walked into the building with that smile on, and he left the building with that smile on his face.
You've been worried about Draymond for 2 years.
Well, look, you gotta be. Listen, they were up 3-1. They had LeBron in Cleveland, and LeBron James, this is what... You want to talk about something impressive that LeBron did, knowing their best strategy was to climb inside this dude's head. They knew his technical foul situation, and he could get suspended if he did one more thing. And LeBron provoked him. This guy can be provoked. LeBron James is clever enough to do it. J.R. Smith can help. Kyrie Irving can help.
But JaVale McGee, Kevin Durant's length, they're better at protecting the rim, which has always been a little bit of an Achilles heel for LeBron. If there's a rim protector, he can go a little too perimeter. Like, I just
You're saying even if they lose Draymond that they're fine.
Listen, I don't think I think the West is overrated. We've been talking about how great it is all year. If you just took Houston, a good team, not a great one, put them in the East, you can go. They're both average. You got two great teams. They're split up, and then a bunch of just okay stuff. Golden State and Cleveland are going to sweep their first 2 series. Don't tell me how great the West is. Durant, JaVale McGee, the length, they're better defensively. It's like, I think they can win without Durant. I think they could win a title if Durant played 2 games in the finals. I think they could win.
Well, I think to Karan's point, Jason, Draymond, in addition to David West and Matt Barnes, he was the main factor in bringing and recruiting Kevin Durant. And I think he feels like I know he wants to push Durant to be a better player than he already is. He sees that as great as he's already been, if he gets that edge and that nastiness, that toughness, that's why he's on him like he is, he can be even better. Maybe on LeBron level, you know, for a season or two. And I don't think he's going to mess that up for KD.
I came into this show today committed to not visiting the candy dish. Committed! I had 3 cheese crackers before the start of the show. To Jay Cutler, who announced Friday that he was retiring from the NFL to join Fox as a broadcaster, sliding into John Lynch's old job.
See, he smiles.
And unlike Tony Romo, Cutler pretty much closed the door on a return to football today on the Herd.
I'm not going back. It's done and over with. And you know that portion of your life that you spent so much time investing in and being a part of is now done and over. And it's you know, I don't think it's set in yet. I mean, once August hits and you know we training camp and you know I'm at home, and I think that's when it's definitely gonna you know come to life a little bit more in my mind.
Colin, you surprised he's moving into the broadcast booth away from the NFL?
No, I think broadcasting's football without the pain. That's what it is for a player. You don't have to wake up Monday and crawl to the bathroom. And that's what veteran players do. He's been beat up. And I think for him, he's competitive, obviously. You can't be a quarterback in this league without having that kind of guile and that toughness. You know Alex Smith well. Those guys compete in a ping pong table, a golf course. And I think what's happening, we're seeing a little bit of a revolution here. We have 31 sports networks. Everybody's got the NFL. Players are leaving early. They've been educated on CTE. And they get a lot of money now. And I think players are all kind of looking for that exit off the interstate, a contract before it's time. And I think Jay said, man, my wife's got a clothing line. That's doing well. I've made my money. I think you're going to see this.
Listen, I said this during that playoff game when he got injured with the knee or whatever, and he got criticized. I was one of those people criticizing because, look, there are guys that are great at the game that don't love the game. This guy, 34 years old, has too much talent and too much left to prove. I'm shocked he's not going to continue with a football career, even though it looks like no one was willing to make him their starter on a competitive team. I thought the guy would go at it for a couple of more years. I'm shocked he's walking away from football.
You just said the one thing that makes it not a shock to me. You said no one would allow him to be a starter. He's always been a starter. He's always been that guy. I remember asking the Detroit Lions to release me. They wouldn't cut me. Let me go because you brought me in and to help get guys ready. And they came and told me, okay, these guys are ready now. We're going to start them. Okay, good. My job's done. I'm not a backup. It's a different mindset of being a starter and being a backup in the NFL. Jay Cutler is the dude with the rock in his hand, and he's being told, you can't have it anymore. So guess what? It's time for me to do something else because I'm not a clipboard holder. I'm not a guy that's going to sit around and help groom somebody else. We've seen how things have played out in the locker room throughout the years. That's not who I am. I got to have the rock, and if you're going to take the rock from me, I'm going home.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. I'm not surprised at all. And to your point, all he's known is being the guy. And by the way, we give Jay Cutler a bad rap because of his demeanor, his disposition when he's on the sideline, on the field, doesn't show emotion, isn't the leader that we expect the quarterback to be. He's always been a great player. He's been a great player, and I say a great player because he's had success. He hasn't had the success as the Aaron Rodgers and the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys, but he's one of those quarterbacks that in his prime, he could get it done, and we all knew that. The issue that I can relate, well, I shouldn't say the issue. Why I can relate to this is because just a year and a half ago, I was sitting in the same position. I wanted to continue to play. The phone calls, they were coming in, but they weren't what my expectation of my level of play, it wasn't what I was expecting. So I wasn't going to now say, you know what? I wasn't willing to do what the teams were really requiring and asking me to do. And that's where Jay was. So being a broadcaster, now, you know what? In his voice, when he says, I'm done with that, he means that.
We've seen 15 guys over the last 2 years leave earlier than we thought. Like, this is becoming a thing. Like before the NBA was a three-point league, about 3 or 4 years ago, it was like Golden State was, and then you're like watching Portland playing, like it became a thing, like, oh, this is the new NBA. Like the new NFL is educated players. You make a little more. There's a lot of broadcasting gigs out there. They leave. And by the way, Fox, we have Aikman. We got a lot of we have better players than the Jets who offered it, frankly. We got Howie Long, Bradshaw. This is a better roster of talent to play with.
Ray Lewis and middle linebacker.
Strahan.
This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. We're all over social media, folks. You know that. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. And it's nice to see all the new subscribers on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Let me give out a pick for tonight. NBA playoffs have been awful. I can't see the Warriors losing this game in any way, shape, or form. They are 8.5-point favorites on the road. I can already hear the Jazz chanting 1, 2, 3, Cancun in that huddle. Love the Warriors tonight. See you tomorrow.